Hind everyone. So today we will understand the concept of microscopy, and here we will take up an example, that is compound microscope. So we will try to understand the principle of microscopy here, and here we will understand how an image is projected by a convex lens, or how image formation occur. Second, our purpose is to get an enlarged image, because as a biologist we are going to study cell or small molecules, so we need to enlarge the image cell to understand the detailed structure. But enlarging an image is not going to give solution. There must be resolution also. So we will understand the concept of image formation, use of convex lens in microscopy, and third, that is the magnification, and fourth point that we will discuss is concept of resolution. And resolution is very important. When you try to understand the concept of compound microscope, then resolution is very important. So let us understand one by one. Light rays are traveling in straight line. For the image formation, but for the image formation, suppose these lights are traveling parallelly, then there will be no image formation. For image formation, there must be bending of light. There must be bending. Suppose these two lights are going straight. If they bend like this and cross each other or focus at a place, then there will be image formation. Okay, so we need bending of light. We need bending of light. How to bend light? As we know that if a light ray from rarer environment or a rarer refractive index or rarer medium to a denser medium, suppose this is denser medium and this is rarer medium, and this light ray is moving into denser medium from rarer medium, means denser means it has high refractive index than the rarer medium. Now if this light is moving into the denser medium, suppose this is tangent, okay, and it is making angle theta 1. So it is making angle theta 1. But when this light enters in denser medium, its velocity goes down. Its velocity goes down and it bend towards the normal. Means suppose this light rays is going like this, and this is the normal position, then it will bend towards the normal. However, when it will come out of the denser medium, it will go away from the normal. Here it is going close to the normal, but here it is going away to the normal. So now it is clear, if we place certain object which has high refractive index than air, then it can bend light. Okay, and okay, now we understand that a denser media can bend light, but where it will cross each other or where it will meet, so we must know the position also. We must know the position also. So here convex lens is providing both the property. One, it can bend light, it can bend light. Okay, it can bend light. Second, we know where it is going to cross each other, the position. So convex lens is providing the two properties which is required for image formation, that is bending of light or convergence due to refractive index, and second, due to this curvature, the convex lens. So due to this curvature, we know the position where it is going to cross each other. Means we know the position of image. We know the position of image where it is going to form an image. A particular position of object is very much required to get an enlarged image. But that image may be real or virtual. It may be upright or inverted. So let us consider two important conditions, that is position, that is very important for microscopy. So what are those two conditions? When we place the object in front of convex lens at a distance away from f and nearer to 2f, then we will get an real, inverted and enlarged image. Okay, so here our image formation and we get an enlarged image. Now consider the second condition. Suppose I place an object here between f and the optical center. Then what will happen? There will be formation of image, but that image is going to form somewhere very much away from the place, and this is not real image. So this is virtual, enlarged, and what is condition? It is inverted or upright. It is in same condition as our object is. So this is object and this is our image. So when we will write about image, this is virtual, enlarged and upright. Okay, upright. So these two are the conditions. So these two conditions are very important when we study the compound microscope. These lenses has certain limitations. What are those limitations? They have limit to enlarge an image. Okay, so they have limit. They cannot increase an image many folds. Rather, they have certain limits. But if we use combination of these two lenses, if we are using the combination, remember we are using at least the combination of two lenses, then we can get an further enlarged image. Okay, so this concept was utilized by Zacharias Janssen. So Zacharias Janssen was an optician. Okay, he was working with his father in a spectacle shop. making spectacles. Okay, so while screwing, because these specs has very small screw, so they need further magnification. They were not satisfied with the single lens. So what they did, they use the combination of two lenses. Okay, utilized by. So remember what Zacharias Janssen used. He took the first condition, and this is object, this is our object, this is our object, and the lens which is nearer to object, this is object. So this lens is called objective, and this is eyepiece. Okay, nearer to eye, so this is eyepiece, and this is objective. So let us see what the Zacharias Janssen get. So he placed the object as in case 1. So he placed the object between f and 2f. He got here, this is the first condition. So he got real, inverted and enlarged image. Okay, but this image is within this tube. This is tube like structure where he placed two lenses. One is eyepiece, another is objective. Okay, so these two lenses. So first condition, he got real, inverted and enlarged image. Okay, and this image, the image act as object for what? Eyepiece. So this image 1 act as object for lens 2, that is eyepiece. So he act as object for lens 2 or the eyepiece. Okay, so it act as a object for eyepiece, and it is placed such that, it is very important here, you remember, it is very important because this image formed by the objective is falling within the focal length of it is falling within the focal length of eyepiece. Say for example FE, here FO you can write, objective, and for eyepiece. So this is the second condition, when object is placed between optical center and the focal length. So this is the second condition. So what we will get here, whatever object it is inverted here and it is real, that's why it act as a object. So this object this image act as object for eyepiece, so it enlarged it. Okay, so this is second image. Then second image is virtual, inverted and upright. Okay, if it was inverted image, then it further we are getting inverted image, but it is not the image made by the it is not inverted further by the eyepiece. Okay, so Antony von Leeuwenhoek, he used this arrangement and made the first microscope. So Antony von made the first microscope that we know as a documented specimen. Okay, and because Jagarius Jansen was not a scientist, he was just manipulating using two lenses and he got the result. But Antony Vaughan, as a scientist, he made a microscope. So first microscope was made by Antony Vaughan. Now the concept remained the same. The objective is here and eyepiece is here. So this lens is objective and this is eyepiece. Okay, so this is eyepiece and this is objective. This is from where our viewers can view and this is where we can place our object. But remember, we cannot change the distance. This distance we cannot change. This distance, suppose this distance is t. So this distance we cannot change in microscope. It is fixed in body tube. If you observe a microscope, there is a knob like structure like this and there are nose piece and several objectives are placed here. Okay, and here is the stage where you place your object and there is image formation that you observe. But remember, this distance we cannot change. So this is our objective and this is eyepiece. Now let us understand the concept of magnification. Concept of magnification. So to understand the concept of magnification, suppose this lens, the objective lens, we have an object that is 1 micrometer in dimension. This is in 1 micrometer dimension, and from that we are getting an image that is 10 micrometers, say for example. So this is 10 micrometers. So what is magnification? Magnification is a ratio. Ratio, what is dimension of image divided by dimension of object. Okay, so object dimension was 1 micrometer and we are getting image dimension 10 micrometer, here 10 by 1. So how many fold? Suppose here we are taking magnification of which lens? Objective. So here I am writing MO. Okay, so how many times this objective can increase the dimension of object? 10 times. That's why 10x, and it is often carved over the objective lens. Suppose this is objective lens, then it is carved here 40x, 10x, 20x. That means it has magnification 40 times, 10 times. Suppose it is 10x, then it is written on the objective, that is 10x. Okay, now if I have another lens, that is eyepiece, here you see this image act as object for eyepiece. This image act as object for eyepiece. So forget about this lens, forget about this lens. We are talking that okay, 10 micrometer is now our object and it is going to enlarge it further. Which lens? Eyepiece is going to enlarge it further. Say for example we are getting here 20 micrometer. So what is the magnification imparted by eyepiece? So it is 20 by, what is the size of object? Yes please. नहीं भाई 1 माइक्रोमीटर कैसे होगा? आप यहाँ देखिए, see here, once this image is formed, this image act as object for eyepiece. So forget about this, we will talk about this only. This image act as object for eyepiece. So here it is 20 by 10, that is 2x. Now it is often asked in the examination. Suppose somebody asks you, okay, this is a microscope, I have objective magnification 10x and eyepiece magnification 2x, then how much total magnification you will get? So how much we will get? Here 1 micron to 10 micron we are getting 10 times, and then from 10 micron to 20 we are getting 2 times. Okay, you don't get my explanation. Okay, let us consider, suppose I am a magician. So I am a magician. So I have a pen and I can increase its length 2 times. Okay. So how much is length? Twice. And now another magician, he can enlarge it further 2 times. So you can see here. So it is 4 times. So the first magician that I was, then I increased it 2 times, and second magician came, he said abracadabra and he made it further 2 times. Then total magnification will be, one was this and it is modified 4 times, added 4 times, then it is 4 times. So what simply we can say, that this 1 micron is magnified 10 times and further this 10 is magnified 2 times. So total magnification will be MO into ME, that is 10x into 2, that is 20x. So what will be the total magnification by the microscope? Yes, that is 20x. But as a researcher, when you will do research, then you must see what other structures in microscope can impart in magnification. So they may increase the magnification further manifold. In some microscopes there are lenses placed in between. This is body tube. This is body tube. Body tube. And this body tube can also impart magnification. If some camera is placed, here some camera is placed. Okay, this is camera. Sub camera is placed, then it can also increase the size of image further. So if I write the total magnification, then it is magnification by objective, magnification by body tube, magnification by eyepiece, and magnification by camera. So this is by objective, and this is by body tube, and this is by eyepiece, and this is by camera. Okay, so total magnification is highly modified, and it vary from microscope to microscope. So you must see what kind of other magnification imparting their effect on the total magnification. Then we will get a real idea that the image is magnified how many times. Otherwise you will get a wrong report, or you will put a wrong report in your research paper. So remember this, there is not only objective and eyepiece, there is camera also, there is body tube also. What is resolution and how it occur? Suppose I have a person who came in my spectacle shop, and I need to check his or her left eye, and I put two dots on this board like this, and progressively I am decreasing the distance between the dots. Okay, if I ask a person, okay, can you see these two dots distinctly? He said yes. I put tick here. Okay, he can see this. But when I asked him the second one, he said yes, I can see the two dots distinctly. But when I asked about the third case, case 1, case 2 and case 3, and this is case 4, so he can't able to see these two dots distinctly through his left eye. Remember, so he cannot resolve these 2 points distinctly. So obviously he cannot resolve this also. Why? Because these two dots are further nearer to that. It is further nearer to that. The distance between the two dots is further reduced. So he or she cannot resolve beyond this. So he cannot resolve the distance. The minimum distance he can resolve through left eye is this. So this is what we call the resolution. It is ability of a microscope to visualize two dots, two closely placed dots distinctly. Here don't confuse. Closely means, suppose I put two dots like in this example, I make it closer, 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 as we say in as we see in the chart that the optician placed before us when we go for eye check. There is reduction in letter size. See, similarly, I reduce the distance, and at a particular distance, after that a microscope cannot see the two dots distinctly. Means it cannot say, it cannot give us an image that where we can say, okay, this dot is different and this dot is different. This is what the resolution is. So In definition, the resolution is an ability of microscope to visualize two closely placed objects distinctly. Okay, let me repeat. What is resolution? Resolution is ability of a microscope. It's a property of a microscope to visualize closely placed object distinctly. So why we cannot observe all the dots? Suppose this condition, why we cannot say that okay, these two dots are same, distinct? Why we cannot say? So George Airy, he gave the concept that if suppose this is a dot and this is another dot, every dot has maximum intensity at the center and further the intensity declines. Okay, so if I look from the top, what I can see, okay, this is the first, this one, and then there is second one, and there is third one. So maximum intensity about 84% we observe here, and further this intensity decline when we move away from the center. When we observe this dot through the light passing through the object, the light distribution, the light intensity at the center is 84% and rest 16% is distributed and forming a concentric ring. So George Airy, since he discovered this, that's why they are called Airy rings, are diffraction pattern. So these are called Airy rings or diffraction pattern. Later on, after George Airy, Rayleigh, he was a great scientist. He published many papers in different aspects, not only in science. He published about 350 papers and around same number of books. So can you imagine about the person? He was great scientist. So what he said, these Airy rings are diffraction pattern. If suppose there are 2 points like this, so there will be Airy rings around it or diffraction pattern around it. Okay, so Rayleigh said, if these two Airy rings, the Airy rings form around a point, suppose this is first point and this is second point, if two Airy ring does not overlap, then we can see the two objects distinctly. I repeat, if the Airy ring, suppose this is one dot and around this there are several Airy rings are diffraction pattern. If this dot is producing this kind of diffraction pattern and this dot is producing this kind of diffraction pattern and they both are not merged, they are not superimposed, then we can observe two objects distinctly. But if the two airy rings, say for example this is one and this is another one, and they overlapped each other, or if I draw like this in 3 dimension, okay, if these two airy rings are the diffraction pattern are not superimposing each other, then we can see the 2 points distinctly. But if suppose the two diffraction pattern they merge, then not distinct, are not resolved. So we cannot see here the 2 points distinctly, we cannot see. But how to say what are the factors that are affecting the relic concept? The relic concept, what are the factors that affect the relic concept? Carl Zeiss and Abbe, Ernest Abbe, most of the cameras that you are using, if you read there, you will find Carl Zeiss lens, because those were the first who were working on making of good lens for microscope. So Carl Zeiss and Abbe, they derive a mathematical concept that okay, suppose this is an objective lens, and if I place an object here and it form a cone of light, suppose this is a cone of light, okay, and this is the tangent, this is objective lens. I am not going to serve any snacks, so this is the cone of light that is entering, suppose this is the lens and this is the cone of light that is entering in the objective lens like this, and half of this angle, that is alpha, and the medium in between, suppose this is of an air, but sometime there is oil than air. So what Abbe said, that resolution small d is equal to, or it is proportional to wavelength of light, used for illumination of object. So resolution depends on the wavelength of light. This may be in nanometer, okay. If it is light microscope, then 400 to 700 nanometer, okay. So this is visible range, so this is the wavelength of light that we use for illuminating the object. And second, resolution is directly proportional to inversely proportional 1 by numerical aperture, and this numerical aperture is mu sin alpha. So it depends on the numerical aperture. So what is D is equal to 0.61 into lambda by NA, numerical aperture. So this is Abbe's formula for light microscope. Remember, when we 100 nanometer, 400 nanometer, 200 nanometer, so we are increasing or decreasing the wavelength of light. So we are decreasing the wavelength of light. Okay, when we move from here to here, we are decreasing the wavelength of light, and when we are moving from here to here, we are increasing the wavelength of light. Suppose I am using 200 nanometer, so here will be 200 nanometer, so D will be multiplied with 200 nanometer, so D will be less. But if I am using 600 nanometer, then D will be multiplied by 600 nanometers, so D will be high. There are two terms often used: resolving power of a microscope and resolution. So resolving power means, suppose these are the two objects, okay, they are closely placed. If a microscope can observe this only, this cannot observe beyond this, it cannot. Suppose microscope A, and if a microscope can observe this, suppose B, so it can observe all these points. So which one has high resolving power, B or A? B, obviously, because the distance between the object is least here and it is very high here. So as closely placed object, a microscope can observe, as high the resolving power. So what we can say, resolving power is inversely proportional to resolution. Means if resolution will be high, resolving power will be low, and if the resolution will be low, then resolving power will be high. Okay, this is often asked in the examination, so you be prepared to answer those questions, I hope. And one more thing that technically you should know, when you buy a microscope on objective, it is printed like this, 40x, say for example, the oblique 0.06 or 0.6, say for example. So this is the numerical aperture. Okay, so if numerical aperture is high, the value of D will be low, then resolving power will be high. I hope all of you can understand the basic concept of microscopy through this lecture. Thank you everyone for watching us.